What are you waiting for?
Come join the Geek Drums Nation. Everybody's been seeing the stuff that's going on online, like with Sony and whatnot. And
No, it's
this
a sore
weekend,
topic.
oh well, whatever. This weekend, this stuff started popping up. Um, Multiple Across the Spider Verse crew members have come out about the unsustainable working conditions that caused 100 artists to leave the film. They were pushed to work 11 plus hours a day, 7 days a week for more than a year. And on top of that, a lot of the people associated with the film have come out and said that it's no way that Beyond the Spider-Verse is coming out next year because they haven't even began working on it. And that doubles down on what Haley Steinfeld said in some interviews when Across the Spider-Verse first came out. She says that she hasn't even recorded lines for the film. So it's an inevitable delay for this film, which sucks because of this cliffhanger. What do you guys think about this and all this Sony drama, like in general? Because we know for sure, Bad Bunny has left the Muerto film. Um, like he jumped ship on that. Um, Amy Pascal put her foot in her mouth apparently when it comes to how she's handling this whole thing. Um, she responded to the Across the Spider-Verse animators demoralized over multiple revisions to final renders. If the story isn't right, you have to keep going until it is. Welcome to making a movie. Um, that's not how you like. I get it. I get it's a business.
Oh God.
You have to it's a way to handle things, but stuff like this coming out is never good at all. So, and then apparently there are multiple versions of the film out there as well. I mean, that's a good thing, but I've only seen one and I've only heard of one. So I don't know if that's a, error on the studio's part, if that adds more fuel to the fire. And then, adding more to that, you have the Craven film that's coming out, and people are honestly tired of Sony turning all of their villains into anti-heroes. So Sony and this Venomverse and all of this other stuff is like, it's not a good look for Sony at this point in time, because the Craven trailer, it didn't get like a overly positive response to it. Me personally, it looks very, very mid. I He's not Craven. Like, honestly, his dad is Craven, and this is like Craven Jr. Like, he doesn't even have the Russian accent. Yes, his powers come from like the mystical side of things. It's always been a potion. When they turned him into a lion man, basically, I think that that's a weird, unique approach. But a lot of things in the trailer were from the comics when he was surrounded by all those spiders. That's literally ripped from a comic book panel. Them having Calypso in the film, and what's up, Quinlan, and her being a woman of color, that seemed to be heavily overshadowed in the trailer. Like, they did not, spend much time on that. But a lot of people didn't know who she was. So, like, just with all this Sony stuff, what are you guys' thoughts? How do you think this is all going to work out? Do you think Craven is going to flop like Morbius and Venom? Oh, and apparently, they've started filming Venom 3. They're in Italy, but they're making it look like it's Mexico to pick up from where Venom 2 left off with that post-credit scene. So it's a lot of stuff going on over in the Sony world. What you think? Anybody jump in?
Taz.
So I think it's a very interesting spot. They seem to know what they want to do as far as animation goes. But on the live action side, they're still kind of chasing their tail, I guess is really the best way to put it. They're trying to catch up to all of these other, cinematic universes that have been established. They're trying to establish the Sony films, the Spider-Man villain films as their own sort of franchise. And I think, they started somewhat strong with the first Venom film. Venom 2 didn't quite live up to the first one. I think there were definitely a lot of issues. I never even saw Morbius, but it seemed like there were a lot of issues with that. Craven, unfortunately, looks like it's going in a very similar direction to Morbius. But on the other side, on the flip side of that, obviously, the first Spider-Verse film did incredible. The second one is doing just as well. The only, I guess, negative thing on that side is the fact that to get such a great product, they unfortunately had to push all of the creatives very, very far, way further than they probably should have. And I think with that coming out, it's only a matter of time before we get an announcement of a delay for Beyond the Spider-Verse.
Darren?
I don't know if you can hear me.
We can we can hear you.
Okay. No, I mean, I think that trailer was definitely a weird one for sure. Because this has just been a movie that we have really no idea what it's setting up, what it's doing, what it's really aiming for. And I do think Craven is a character that fundamentally can't work without Spider-Man, without changes. Like, his whole thing is he wants to, like, hunt Spider-Man. And I think when you put him in a world without Spider-Man and without, like, in that main front, you definitely have to change some things. And I think the whole hunting the hunters isn't a bad approach. I think, turning him into this Tarzan-like character can definitely work, and isn't a huge, massive issue for me personally, but I definitely, like, especially that first half of that trailer looks very, like, standard Sony. Looks very Morbius, looks very Venom. But I will say, like, that back half got me kind of hyped. Like, I loved just seeing this man murder some folks, and I thought, as it's very different from, like, the comics, the Rhino thing did get me quite excited to see their take on that character, because we've seen many versions of that character before, but
we're
not
finally
too-
getting a comic
Yeah.
book accurate one, not a Paul Giamatti mech suit.
Oh God.
Yeah, I mean it's cool just to get that in live action, because like we kind of got that in like Spider-Man 2, right? But not very much. It was just a little bit of it. So to see, and I will say I do think they have a plan. I really do. I think in their mind they have something that they're aiming for, but it might just not be good. Like, it might just be like in their heads they're like, people are going to love this thing, and everyone's just like, give us Spider-Man. Like, I think everyone just wants Spider-Man by this point, and
Yeah.
I don't know. I think it's going to be a weird ride, but I'm curious what their end goal ultimately is.
A live
think it's
action
Sinister
Into the
Six.
Spider-Force.
Sure. Yeah, no, I do think it might be Sinister Six. I just don't
But how
know
does that
about
work
this
without
approach.
Spider-Man?
I
They're
think
kind of
they
like
will
going.
have a Spider-Man.
Yeah,
I
they're
really
just
do.
like going the backwards route. Is they're just establishing all the villains first, and then they'll decide on a Spider-Man, whether that be a complete recast,
Yeah.
bringing back an old version of Spider-Man. Maybe this is where we get our live action Miles Morales
Mhm.
as well. Who knows?
They should just
but
bring in Andrew.
Yeah, that was always my thought as well.
Yeah.
I think the idea of like a 7-movie event leading to like a huge like Sinister Six with each member getting their own movie, that idea in general is sweet. That's a really cool idea. But like when like 3 of your 4 movies have been not great already, like, is that something that's worth it? Like, everyone, I think most people like Venom enough. People didn't like Morbius. So far, there's not a great prize for Craven. And I don't know. I don't feel like that's a great setup for, what like you ultimately could do, I guess.
So I have a question though. Wait, Taj and 3 Dubs, do you have anything to add to the Sony stuff?
I just have no faith in this universe. I'm just gonna say that. I just don't listen.
Hey, that's fair.
I,
That's
I,
fair.
I know some of y'all enjoyed the first Venom. I didn't. I was just like, this is stupid.
I
And then
prefer the
Venom
second.
2 came out.
We do not
You
eat
like the
humans.
second one? Oh
I-
my gosh.
I think the first one's a mess. I think like all the way through, and I think as like the second one isn't great either. I feel like it at least has more of a vision of what it's trying to do, where the first one just kind of feel like, I think the first one was rushed. Like, I think they had a good movie there, and like the whole and like the whole studio was like, you need to get this out 8 months earlier, so get this thing out.
Gwendolyn says my entire issue with the Morbius film. You're a vampire, but they showed no blood. When him or Lucian, whatever the villain's name was, I forgot. Whenever they were about to attack somebody, you cut away.
Yeah.
Sony,
It should have been rated R.
You showed Peter snapping Gwen's back, but you can't show Morbius sucking some blood. Like,
Listen, I'm still traumatized by that. Don't bring it up.
I do
like, come on,
also
like-
wanna bring
No,
up-
it wasn't a snapback. It was a head flop.
yeah, well, yeah, either way, it was
Listen, we
crap.
saw it.
You showed Harry Osborn's STD like goblin transformation. Like you showed us like he looked like he had like an outbreak. But you can't show us somebody, getting mauled by a vampire.
Mhm.
But you can say, oh, you know what? We made a mistake with that. Let's make Craven rated R with him throwing knives through people's necks, a kid getting bitten by a lion, and the father to leave him. You can do this, but Carnage. We didn't see Carnage really kill anybody either. And also, as much as I love Woody Harrelson, I honestly think this may be a hot take, but I think he was miscast as Craven. No, not Craven.
What?
As Cletus Cassidy. He was a miscast for me.
At least they got rid of that wig.
They gave him an even worse one. Like it was like a Johnny Bravo like.
Yeah.
It was
was
McDonald's.
Yeah,
bad.
it was bad. It was bad.
It was McDonald's curlies.
I'm like, you thought that this was, and like he got his powers from. You even let him bite somebody. He bit Eddie and got his powers,
Mm.
but you don't let the vampire. Oh, you know what? But guys, as I've said, like this is like a watch this space type situation. Hopefully, Sony can come out on the other side of this. It's inevitable for Beyond the Spider-Verse to be delayed. So yeah, that's that.